All right, welcome back to the Chair Company Files. I'm Mike Wolf.
I'm Carlos Rodella.
The title of the episode is Brown Derby Historic Videos, A Little Bit of Hollywood, or something like that.
What are they doing?
I don't know. The Little Bit of Hollywood is from Ron Trosper's interview that he does at the construction site, but the Brown Derby history vids is almost a reference. It's like an I Think You Should Leave reference, I think.
Yeah. They're throwing so many I Think You Should Leave references in. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and we'll get into that scene. And I got I watched it last night. I just got back from Japan last night, but I had to watch this, and it was great. It was so good I didn't fall asleep. I was jet lagged, but it was so good.
Nice.
And it pulled us right. So the start of the show pulled us right in, right where we ended off, with him looking down at his phone of the creepy shot that looked like it's coming from within the closet. I suspected. I think it's actually coming from outside. But as we find out, it actually was coming from inside the closet.
I know. I also thought it was outside, and they hit you over the head with that intro. The intro is so good. The intro, which we'll go into, of this whole episode feels like just a straight I Think You Should Leave sketch. Like it doesn't seem to let up. It's just like 3 sketches put all together. And we learned that, that shot is from like the actual closet inside his house. And it's almost like a horror movie, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought he's going to rip open the closet and there'd be nothing there.
Me too.
Instead, of course, they surprise us and delight us by having a little man staring up at him, who then shoves Ron and runs out the door.
Just a short little guy. And like, what a weirdo this character is.
And Ron pursues him outside, and he catches up to him, and the guy falls. And then there's a car coming honking. I thought it was just like a passerby, but it's Mike.
Yeah.
He jumps out and says, "It's my guy. It's my guy.
That's my guy." That's my guy is also, I Think You Should Leave reference from, remember when they have the fake celebrities show up at the party? Yeah. He's like, "I got a fake Johnny Carson." And then they're all hitting each other. Like they hit all the guests. He goes, no, it's okay. It's my guy. That's my guy.
And then it's I think his name's LT, the little short dude. And he's drunk because I think Mike goes, "Are you drinking again?" Which is pretty hilarious.
Yeah, you have in the notes down, you put a small guy in my closet. That's hilarious.
Ron tells him, "Stay the fuck out of my life." And then Mike says, "I found something out." And then they cut to the next scene, which they're entering the garage, which is hilarious because Mike enters admiring the garage and says, "Look at this 2-car baby."
2-car baby. That little guy, LT, is just, he totally won me over immediately. Like I just was all in on LT. And the fact that he kept hitting things, he just has hitting boxes randomly. Weirdly enough, he hits the boxes that are the Jeep Tours.
It was so weird how there was this pregnant pause as he's staring at that box on the table, and they're just waiting for something to happen. Like
I'm just waiting
2 or
for
3
him to
seconds.
hit it. Yeah,
it was the longest pause, and then he hits it down, and then chaos ensues. There is a key plot point there. Mike tells him that he stayed when Ron left because of the gun. He went to see Jim X anyway, and then he finds out through a mutual acquaintance that Jim X was bragging that he'd become rich. And that Jim X had gotten paid $50,000 for Mike to scare Ron or something like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. I think it's a good time to bring this up. When everybody is at its peak and people are screaming at each other, it always seems like Ron and Mike come back to each other, right? And they're like, "Well, actually, let's figure this out," right? Because they could have just been over. You put a little guy in my closet. But no, they went all in the garage and they were like, "Okay, let's talk about this." And even though the little guy was hitting boxes, they still continue to figure things out together.
You're right. It seems like they're going to have a falling out. It escalates, and then they kind of realize they need each other.
Yeah. It's like a little team that's formed that's outside of his family, which is obviously going to be a problem later on.
I mean, there's some implausible cuts, like they're walking to the garage and yet none of the family notices, which is weird. He ran out the door. No one heard anything about that. That's neither here nor there. That just happens, I think.
Yeah.
But once everything is said and done, they linger on the box a little bit on the garage floor, and then they cut to Ron entering back into the Twister party, and Barb wipes, "Where the fuck were you?"
Yeah. And they're still playing Twister, by the way. That's also, who plays Twister? When's the last time you played Twister?
I don't know. It's a throwback part of it, but I think it was kind of funny because Natalie's stuck on the floor complaining. She just seems kind of like a stick in the mud.
Yeah.
And Barb whispers, "Where the fuck were you?" And then they cut to him laying in bed with LT in the closet again. He's freaking out. He realizes it's a nightmare. He goes downstairs and just he's there in the morning. And Barb walks down. He's been basically sitting there all night freaking out. And he implores Barb that they need to get home secure. They need to get cameras, or else like someone will. He freaks out, and it's his typical escalation. He's like, someone's going to cut your throat.
Yeah,
it happens all the time.
Yeah, it happens all the time. It's someone's going to ask me to cut your throat. I think that's what it was, and it doesn't make any sense. It's like such a Tim Robinson line. Like it's happened before. Someone's going to say we have to slash each other's throats. So intense.
The next scene was even weirder, and like this was so bizarre, and I loved it because he goes into the meeting with the I think they're designers. He's meeting with them for the mall designer job. They're talking square footage, and there's a couple of the people sitting across Ron's desk, and I think there's a couple of his employees or subordinates sitting in the room as well. And as they're talking about square footage, the one dude watches a roach. Like you see, it's always like there's something happening, and you can kind of see someone's eyes shoot to something. Like someone's always getting distracted in a scene. And this time it's not Ron, but it's a guy, and he's watching a little bug creep into the charging port of the phone.
Okay, I got to say it here because this is a perfect time to say it. And just like me going back to I think you should leave a lot, this is going to happen again. But David Lynch is very much in this episode again. There's so much inspiration. That's one of them. And also Cronenberg, or what's Naked Lunch? I think is that Cronenberg? But like Naked Lunch has a lot of body horror and like weird, like Exosens, that movie Exosens, where it's like these little insects and things. And I feel like Tim and the writer is really getting into it. Yeah, I think they're like getting into it in this show because that's happening. Like even the red ball at the old factory, just kind of like questionable things. The sheets of the photocopy of like people, like sexy people and nude people. There's something that's going on in this show.
And the weird thing is you don't quite know if it's going to be an important plot point. I don't think they ever followed up with the bug in the port. Like I thought that was going to be a thing. And then that just happens. The guy goes, there's a roach in your phone now. And then they just drop it. Drop it.
Yeah. Wasn't it by the way, I thought it was a ladybug. It looked like a ladybug to me.
Yeah. It didn't like, that's not like any roach I've ever seen, this little bug, but the guy called it
a teeny little bug. Yeah.
Yeah. A roach would not fit in a normal iPort phone.
Can I say something here as well? Because right before this, we're zooming through the episode, but like when he had the meeting with the art designers, this is why I actually like this episode a lot and why I like the show is that every once in a while they will jump us back to him being a family man, which we talked about last episode. And then also in this one, he like can be good at his job, right? Like, you know, he's like, oh, did you do this? And they're like, you feel like, oh, he's actually on top of this.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that juxtaposition.
They sprinkle reminders of his competence throughout it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's his craziness, his manic yelling episodes and his weird behavior, but then they'll just sprinkle in these things of competence. Like one of them was the speech at the end, which we'll get to about Bear Run and Canton Marketplace, whatever.
Yeah.
But so this thing ends, the people leave, and Ron starts sleuthing again for whatever reason. He jumps back on the internet, he starts sleuthing, and he realizes he needs to actually go into the city. He needs to actually do an in-person records request for the deed. But while he's on the way out the door, his boss pulls him in to watch the interview of his on TV. The whole office is standing around watching him interview. And that's another example of like his competence. The interview is actually pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, he did good there. And people were like kind of cheering him.
By the way, we have to mention the fact that again, the question comes up during the interview about whether or not there's going to be any reference to football, because this is Canton, which ends up coming back and circles back on him again. But in that same scene, he sees Doug whispering to a fellow office worker. And then Doug comes up to him afterwards and says, by the way, I'm not going to invite you to my party.
Yeah. He goes out of his way to tell me he's not going to invite him. Yeah.
And he says I think it's a regret party or whatever, a mistake party. And he doesn't want to invite him because people can't feel free to talk about mistakes in front of their bosses.
I mean, I'm still feeling like the leftover. He's mad at him for like pulling off his bubble necklace. Like, I feel like that's really what this is all about, right? Like, he was mean to him. He probably still is holding that grudge, I think.
Yeah, we don't know if Doug is maybe a bigger player in the whole scene behind it, or if he's just like this incidental guy. I mean, but clearly there's a grudge because Doug got passed over.
Yeah, that
for
too.
the promotion.
Yeah.
And so Ron Trosper heads into the city record office, and that's a fun scene because he's sitting there and he's meeting this clerk who's clearly stressed out, overworked, and then Ron, for some reason, decides to write a fake name down.
Yeah, he's just trying to cover his trail, I guess, in a bad way.
He writes his fake name down, Doug Ashley, and then he sees the overworked clerk go and starts talking to her boss, and they're looking over at Ron. And then at the same time, there's a TV on the wall that starts playing Ron's interview with his name. So then he's stressing. He's stressing that he's going to get his cover's going to get blown.
But the weirder part, and I'm going to just accept that I'm going to say David Lynch a lot because it feels like it again. But her boss tells her to go home because she needs to take a shower. What the heck? What? It's not a real thing. Like this is not real life. This becomes just a fantasy land. No one says that to somebody. But yeah, he wants to protect himself, so he throws his pen. And I do love, like, this episode has a lot of those little Tim Robinson moments of like, what the heck? This happened. Like, oh, I just flung that pen. It was crazy. Did you see that? And then he did that so he could take pictures, so he could find out where this place was, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's also again elements, as we mentioned, I think in the first episode, of Office Space, like the weird, unnecessary cruelty of the bosses in kind of a weird way because they're awkward and just kind of stupid. And so like the fact that she tells her to go, the boss tells the clerk to go home and shower is just weird.
Super weird.
And then another key plot point happens, and this kind of, they sneak these little plot points in, is she mentions that another person came and asked for this deed. He realizes he needs to get the name of that person. He throws the pencil on the ground, or he kind of tries to flick it on the ground. Yeah. He snaps a picture of the monitor while she's bending down to get the pencil.
Right. He's trying to find out who checked it out. That's right. Because this leads into the other guy that we're going to get to.
He's on the way out. He looks at the deed. He gets a copy of the deed. He's on the way out, and he sees this name, RBMG, which, as we find out, becomes a big deal.
It becomes a big deal.
Which he finds out when he gets back to his office. He does more quick internet research, but as he's on his way into the office, Jamie stops him and starts telling him about how all this, all the news had uploaded his video to YouTube. And then there's all these crazy comments. People are really supportive, except for one commenter, which I had to wonder if this commenter was going to be someone either he knew, or maybe it's that football guy that's interviewed later about how they need football because it's Canton. And she talks about how someone wants to fuck him with a football or something like that.
Well, that scene escalated. It's classic, Tim, and classic, I think, Shalif. It's like, it just gets weirder and weirder and weirder. She's like, the comments were like, we really want football. We're like sad there's no football. One guy was like really mad that you didn't have football. He said he's going to fuck you with a football. Like, it just kept getting weirder and weirder, those comments. But yeah, it comes back as a major plot point.
And he's like, that's understandable. And then she throws that last one at him. He's kind of creeped out. He goes into his office, Googles RBMG, and he finds out it's the name Red Ball Market Global. Of course, it's Red Ball Market Global.
Of course, there was a red ball at the place. And this is where the song comes in, right?
Great hold song.
Yes.
So he's going through this website, which is just filled with empty corporate gibberish, AI-powered copy. And he sees all these things. He sees like the mission statements, which is, again, like, it's just this really kind of empty stuff. Like, we want to fulfill our mission by exploring possibilities across the globe. All these kind of super empty corporate gibberish. And then he sees that there's a phone number. He calls it, and then there's this hold music, which is, do you want to attempt to kind of sing the whole music?
You've seen it like more recently than I have. Red Ball Market. I forgot it.
It's I swear I've heard this whole music before, but with different songs. But it's like Red Ball Market Global. And then the funny part is it just starts singing this, like, the corporate slogans, empowering worldwide services.
And it does, and he never gets through, right? I don't think he ever gets through, because I remember he keeps it on hold for like hours.
Yeah, it's on hold. He's still surfing the website, and then he finds these photos of the board, of these names that are on the board, and he's Googling them, and then none of them are turning up, which kind of tells me that these people are fake. he's Googling the name of like the directors, and none of them are showing up, which seems pretty implausible if you are a director of a big corporate board. You would show up on LinkedIn or something.
Yeah. No, it's shady as hell. What we're learning in this whole show is that what I didn't think it was actually going to be when we first started watching it is that the things that he's like concerned about isn't just Tim Robinson being freaked out about something. There's something actually going on. Like we know that now, right? Like it's shady. There's something weird going on.
And I think that we're starting to see not only more of the plot unravel or unfold before our eyes, I think we're also starting to see some themes that the show stands for. And I think some of them are everything is fake. Like everything is like, you don't know what's real, what's fake. So there's so much like corporate, I guess, bullshit out there, like phony authenticity. And so I think like that is, I think, a theme.
That's a good mention. And I think it's also about like, he said this, I don't know if it's this episode or the last one. I think it's this episode, but he was like, there's so much bad shit out there and you can't do anything about it. And like, I think we all have that feeling. You're like, oh, this is terrible. And I can't even call anyone.
That's the next scene, though. He goes, I think, from there. He's actually still on hold in the bar scene with Mike, and they're drinking at this dive bar.
I love the Mike and him drinking scene.
And the whole music's still going as if he took his phone with him to like an entirely new location.
Yeah.
Still on hold. And then Mike tells him that, I think it was so funny, just like a throwaway line almost. He goes, my ex-wife tried to poison me. And he talks about how she did it with like hundreds of sex stamina pills.
So the worst way to do it. Yeah.
Just a throwaway line.
Yeah. But you're right. This is where it happens, because no one answers the phone. You have here in the notes. And like, what, people make garbage now? He said that?
He goes, everything's garbage. He goes, people make garbage now. And so they both get so pissed. And I think that is just kind of articulating in probably a way we hadn't heard before. Like everything's shit now. It's all phony. Nothing stands for anything.
Yeah.
And then, so they both start yelling at the phone. I think what they actually do is they hang that up and they dial back Tekka. They get a Tekka representative and they both just start yelling at him.
Oh my goodness, Mike. I forgot what he said. You didn't put it in the notes maybe, but like he yells something at the very end and it just made me laugh so hard.
And it was pretty obscene. It was pretty obscene. And so that happens. And then I think right about that time, he gets the word on his phone and it's Seth on the Nest Cam. So he didn't install security cameras, gets Seth drinking beer on the side of the house. I think from there, they actually go home. He confronts Seth about drinking the beer and he just talks about how beer makes him funny. Remember that?
Yeah. It seemed like that one didn't feel right in this episode. Like lots of times, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, I don't understand the purpose of the son. Like the daughter makes sense. And that she's got like, girlfriend, there's a marriage going on, or, they're going to have a wedding and she seems cool. And I actually like that actress a lot, but am I wrong on feeling like, I don't feel like the son has a place? Like this doesn't feel like a real thing. Like this. Okay, hold on. This also doesn't feel like a real thing. Like families have, people who drink, the kids drink and the parents find out like, hey, stop that. But this one feels like heartwarming somehow. I don't know. All feels kind of weird to me.
It almost, they always are trying to like insert him trying to be a good parent, like little scenes dabbled within the episode, but it almost feels like maybe it's another commentary. Like we're all overstressed and we're just trying to do so many things. And it feels like Ron is maxed out. He's consumed by this conspiracy theory. He's consumed by his job, trying to be the project manager. But then he also is just trying to be a dad. So maybe the awkward sprinkling in of him being the tender dad moments is just part of the theme of the show, right?
Yeah, I guess so. It just, for me, it felt a little out of place because it's like we're going through all this heightened stuff and then it's like, hey, and it's almost like a sitcom, like, what are you doing with that beer? I don't know. It is kind of funny that you said it made him funnier. That's interesting.
Yeah, so he meets with his son Seth at, I think, the same restaurant that Mike works at security, and then Mike comes in and then they cut to them going to confront, I think his name is Stevie Droyko, which is the name they got off the photo that Ron Trosper took on the screen of the deed. They knock on this guy's door. He answers it, And he's instantly suspicious. What are you doing here?
Yeah, he freaks out.
He freaks out. They mention Treco, and then he slams the door, and you just hear him screaming. Like, hear him screaming behind the door.
Yeah, he's freaking out because obviously something has gone on at that company. And again, we're learning that it's not all in, Ron's head. It's like an actual thing. Like, people worked there, which you find out later. He only worked there a very little time. And something obviously happened that freaked him out. So he leaves. For some reason, he leaves right after that.
He leaves, and they see him leaving. They're sitting in the car, and they realize that this is their moment. This is their chance. And then they sneak back into his house. That's another weird scene. And by the way, he walks in. It's a great line. He goes, "Oh, this is where they put the washing machine." Like the washing machine.
I did like that line. And he's like, "It's like really messy in here." He's like, I think
all the papers are everywhere.
Yeah.
He's so messy. Papers everywhere.
But it's more than messy, dude, because when they find next.
Yeah. I think it's Mike is like searching around with this iPhone light, and they see it. I couldn't tell if this lady was laying on top of a pile of garbage or a bed. Yep. It was crazy.
It's garbage. It's just like a hoarder kind of situation. And this will be the last time, okay? This will be the last time, Mike, of the whole episode. But this is 1000% a David Lynch moment. Like, this is not real. This is not even Tim Robinson like material. This is just like dark, weird moment. She's just screaming on top of the pile for popcorn. That's not Lynch. I don't know what is. It doesn't make any sense. And they throw chips at her.
Yeah, first it's just popcorn.
Popcorn?
I need popcorn.
Screaming. Yeah.
And then they see one little kernel of popcorn in her hands, and then Mike decides to throw. Is it Mike or Ron throws potato chips at her?
Mike throws the chips at her, and he's like, she doesn't want chips. She wants popcorn, but she has popcorn. If you look at the thing, go back to the tape. She had popcorn in her hand, so she didn't even need popcorn. They weird.
See camera, they freak out, but they start grabbing all these papers on the way out.
Ugh,
and they run out. And it's pretty funny. And then at the very end, another lady walks down the stairs. Looks like a younger lady. That was weird.
Oh, I did see that. Again, it felt just weird, just off. Like a horror movie, really.
So that was a crazy scene. Like, every one of these scenes is just, there's surprises packed in. There's probably homages to, like you said, David Lynch. They're dropping in clues the whole time. Mm-hmm. There's the weird Robinsonian kind of, I think someone called it on our Facebook page. We're seeing increasing clues of what is a Robinson verse. I think the Robinson verse is just weird, surprising, unexpected moments in every single scene. And then we go from there, and he returns home in what is a classic spouse confrontation scene where Barb is sitting there having a glass of wine. I feel like that is like the prototypical, hey, we have to talk. She's having her wine. She's drinking her feelings away, but she's so understanding though. She's the loving wife. She does love Ron. Ron loves her, and she confronts him about what's going on.
Yeah, I just like that in the very beginning. He's like, "Oh, you're having wine? I actually wanted to have wine right now." Like, it's so like he just made it normal. He tried to make it normal, but it wasn't normal. And yeah, she catches him, and she's like, tell me what's going on. I thought for a second he was gonna finally just tell her, because by the way, that's probably the right call. So much gone on. Holy crap! It's so much chaos, and you have someone to confide in about it. But nope, he doesn't. He says, oh, she thinks it's the Jeep tours, which we never learned about, but there's boxes in the garage that he used to do this thing called the Jeep tours, and he was obsessed with it. It
was his being an entrepreneur thing. Like, it was his thing he was building on his own, because she says, are you doing this? And he goes into another little speech that kind of makes you think, hey, he's a normal guy, and say, hey, this new project is making me feel fulfilled. Which I don't know if I'm buying it, but he keeps saying how him having ownership of this project for Bear Run or Canton Run at Bear Market or whatever it is giving him fulfillment.
Oh, I don't think it is.
And you're right though. Why doesn't he just entrust the truth in Barb? Like, they seem pretty close and they love each other. I don't get it.
I know. There's other shows like this show where the marriage is bad or the marriage has issues. There's sketches he's done where he wouldn't tell the wife, because the sketch was like, oh, that wife wouldn't understand.
In friendship, like the spouse was cheating on him, and this is not that. I get no sense that Barb's cheating on him. I don't think she's going to do that. She loves him, but she's growing she's getting a growing sense of he's up to something, and yet he is not confiding in her.
Yeah. Instead, he does the whole switcheroo and says it's about the drinking. They're finding out the son was drinking.
He totally throws Seth under the bus on that, which
That
is weird because
he said he wasn't going to tell her.
He wasn't going to tell her, and then he did. And so that's going to probably set up some distrust with Seth some more. So that's another continuing plot point. And how it shows him trying to be a good dad, and yet all these different forces thrust upon him is making him just step on his own feet. He's rake stepping because he just can't handle all the balls in there.
Yeah.
So he goes back to the office, and this is pretty funny because this is the closing scene, and we get some surprises here. Doug is shown in the other room, basically standing over a pizza. Jamie tells him that Doug was a monster at the party, which we don't get any more details on.
We don't.
The embarrassment party where everyone has to wear either a green or a yellow wristband. We don't really get any sense of what happened there.
And right before that party, and the fact that they just throw a line, say he's a monster, which you don't see coming at all. It's like the whole time, this whole show, I've been like worried, like I just said, that he was mean to him with the whole Bubbles thing. But now it's like turning it around. It's being like, wait, was he actually the mean guy the whole time?
And I think at that point, I think Ron's boss comes and says, hey, we need to go to Jeff's office. Jeff is the Lou Diamond Phillips character, who's the kind of the boss. I think he's the CEO of the company. And from there, they see a video of this ex-Browns football player crying and basically saying, Canton is all about football. Why are they not having football? And this is all sparked by Ron Trosper's interview saying that they have no intentions of doing any homages or any kind of nods to the world of football.
Yeah. But I don't know why it's such a stance, like football or no football. Like it's a mall. Just put, I don't know why this is a big deal, actually. But I think it's because Canton is the home of the Football Hall of Fame. No, but why not put it in? Is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like Ron's thing, like a lot of his characters, he just doesn't want to bend. He doesn't want to, remember, just like, sorry. Just like, I think it should leave sketches. He doesn't want to admit that he was wrong. So it's like, he doesn't want to like give in, right? Is that what this is?
Yeah. He always picks the wrong hill to die on too. Like
which is football in this one.
People are saying maybe we should do something about football. And then at that point he sees Steven Droyko, the guy they confronted at the door in the doorway. And Ron excuses himself. And here's another thing. They start wrestling or fighting and no one hears it, which is just almost implausible.
Yeah. Again, it's almost like, oh, wait a minute. I just thought of a conspiracy theory. Is all of this in his head?
Well, we talked about that in the last episode.
Well,
is he going crazy?
Did we though?
Yeah.
I'm okay. It's okay to bring it up again because it just dawned on me that because, like you said, remember the small guy in the beginning, all the boxes being thrown around in the garage. This is like a Fight Club moment I'm having. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I was thinking Fight Club exactly. Just
yeah,
like I don't think it is. I think this is.
It's really.
I think it's a decent theory, but I do think it's actually happening.
Okay, it's actually happening. But he goes and yells at that guy, or the guy was yelling at him. So they go to another room, and I love that scene. And I have a fun Easter egg here. But he talks to that guy and says, "Hey, do you know any of these people that I found on the internet at this Red Ball company?" And he basically wants to figure out like what he knows about this company. And he said he only works there for 4 days. I think he worked there for 4 days.
Naked.
And he had to work where he'd be naked again, which means that something's obviously going on with his place. But then he finally recognizes one person. And oh my goodness, I'm so happy because the guy he recognizes is the guy who did the dirty jokes in I Think You Should Leave sketch. Do you remember he goes,
really?
the little limericks about the dog, the horny dog and, you know, all that stuff. I love that whole scene so much. And he is the guy he references.
Well, it surprised me because I still feel like a lot of that corporate board that was on the website are fake people because it seems like a fake company. I don't know if they're AI generated or whatever, but he recognizes this one guy. I think his name is Ken Tucker or something, who, as you say, is from I Think You Should Leave.
Oh my goodness. He's such a good, he's going to be so great if they put him in the show. I hope they do.
So eventually he gets Droyko to leave after he promises he'll get his papers back. No one comes in his office despite all the noise.
Nope.
Ron marches back into Lou Diamond Phillips, Jeff's office. And here's another hint of him being like somewhat plausibly like possibly good at his job. He basically makes a speech of how no one will remember this football thing once Canton Marketplace of Bear Run happens. Everyone will forget about it when we're all gone. And yet, Jeff Lou Diamond Phillips says, "Yeah, that's a nice speech, Ron." But Ewan, it says Ewan. His name was Ewan.
I don't remember his name.
Said something very eloquent about football, so we're going to do something.
Yeah, you missed your chance. And that guy was in tons of sketches with him. I just can't remember his name, the actor's name. He's very good. Yeah, but the way that Lou Diamond Phillips / Jeff looks at Ron all the time, like I told you in the very beginning when he had the accident, either he's in on something or he just doesn't like him. Like you admit that now, right? Like you can sense that.
There's a small sample size. He's been in only like 1 or 2 scenes,
right?
But you're right. He looks at him like he doesn't think Ron is competent, which is kind of different from Barb. Barb, his immediate boss, the middle manager, I feel like she toggles back and forth between looking at Ron like, "Hey, great interview, we love you, Ron," and then like he'll do something, or she's getting pulled on by her boss, and she comes in all stressed out. So she's just, I think, the traditional corporate manager, which is kind of blowing whichever way the wind blows. She's stressed out because she's under a lot of stress.
Yeah.
The ultimate boss just has no trust in Ron.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's the Lou Diamond Phillips character. So that happens, and then we get to the final crazy, creepy scene, which is he gets another alert on his phone. He goes to it, and he sees a chair sitting there outside his house.
Yeah, and then someone shows up in the chair.
A guy in a hoodie. What do you think? Oh, great. What's this? And then he turns around and guess what does he have on his face?
It's like the V for Vendetta anonymous mask. Or like the Scream mask.
Was it, Scream mask or a Jason Hockey mask?
I mean, I don't want to do this, and I know you're going to be, it's almost like every episode now you're going to be like upset when I do this, but this is 1000% a Detroiters reference. So let me just, for the audience at home, because maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but literally one of my favorite scenes in Detroiters is his wife, Chrissy, does hair tutorials on YouTube, and he would always pass by in the background, and he would be in her videos, and people would light him up in the comments, is what she said, and be like, "Who's your like dumb husband? Like he's like heavy, and he looks like a ghost and stuff." And so then he went to the comments and he like read them, and then he decided to make an anonymous video where he wore that mask, almost the exact mask. And he like wrote and made a whole video about like, leave him alone. So that's from Detroiters.
I think it's just we're seeing all the themes kind of come out. I think one of it is just like, we don't know what's reality. Online universes and sock puppet accounts, right? Or whatever, people making fake comments. I think it's all part of the theme. He's kind of exploring all these different issues. So you don't know if it's like serious, but also I think there are some serious issues under here that he's trying to explore. Even though it's like a crazy show, he's doing it in his own way.
Yeah, and I think that one of the notes you've written down is so spot on, because every time I finish an episode, this is how I feel. And it's perfect for Halloween, actually. But this is like comedy with horror. Like that, this episode had so much of like horror moments in it. And the end was trying to be horror. Actually, the last scene is literally horror and comedy, because it shows a horror thing like you would recognize in Scream movie. And then what does that character do at the very end? The very last scene is he wiggles his head back and forth.
What was the head wiggle?
It's an I think you should leave thing. I don't want to go into it because you'll be mad at me at this point. But it's literally another reference. Like that's another little thing that happens.
And I will indulge you with one more reference to I Think You Should Leave. And I think that the title of this episode, which the titles don't always make complete sense. They're not kind of nonsensical, but the title of this episode is Brown Derby Historic Vids. Brown Derby, I think, is a reference to, I think, what's that? The singing crooner.
Oh, the crooner. Yeah.
It's the singing crooner, which is I Think You Should Leave, which is a classic. I Think You Should Leave. And then it also is combined with a little bit of Hollywood, which is a quote from the interview from Ron Trosper. So
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and for my last one, because I've already like told you I'm doing references all the time. I'm gonna say that the last head movement is, and this is tough, to like, it's a stretch is what they call it. And it's the driving crooner, by the way, the driving crooner. Is I think the little head movement is when he did the hair plug sketch, and the very end of the hair plug sketch, he goes boink 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 boink. I think that's that. That's me.
Are they references, or does Tim just have a lot of his own moves? He just keeps going back.
Right. It might. That's what I'm saying. It's almost like
it's all part of the.
Yeah.
It's all part of his milieu. Is the Robinson verse? I think he keeps bringing it all back.
Yeah, I can see it and sense it when it comes back out, but I've seen it in other things. You know what I mean? Like this.
But what I love about this show is, unlike you probably would get from his sketches, or even Friendship and maybe Detorters, is we do feel like he's exploring some deeper themes in a weird, interesting way. He's also making homages to his favorite, I think, creators, like you said, David Lynch, etc. And so I think this is becoming a really interesting piece of work by him.
I think so too. And I think it is really about that. Like, to answer your earlier question, and this is our longest episode ever because I think there was so much packed in this episode, but I think that he doesn't give a crap about them all, in my opinion. Okay. This is just like another conspiracy theory corner. I guess that's what I was supposed to do at the end of every episode.
I was going to say, where's your conspiracy theory corner?
My conspiracy corner is this, and it's not much of a conspiracy, but I think that he doesn't give a shit about anything he's doing at all. And it might come out at the very end, like a classic Tim line where he just throws his arms up and is like, I don't know, fuck it. Like, just, I don't think he cares about this stuff. And I think lastly is it is a kind of homage and a metaphor for like the corporate America, and then this world that we're currently in, which is like, what has meaning? What are we doing?
Nothing's real. Yeah. Everything's a sellout. Authenticity is fake.
Yeah.
But I do want to just do a little prediction on the final scene. It seems like every episode is ending almost on a horror trope, but they almost seem less scary. So I'm imagining the next episode will open with him looking or watching that video of that Jason-like character doing his weird head twitch. And it'll probably be less scary than what we anticipated. It might be his son or a friend of his son.
Yeah.
Not anything related to the broader conspiracy. I think it's just like, I love how they're just using these horror tropes, but then they end up being kind of less scary than you think once you realize what it is.
By the way, they set us up for this. If this is what it is, here's my true conspiracy corner. Well, I don't know if it's conspiracy, but what if it's his son trying to be funny?
It might be his son.
No, but remember he said he was funny when he's drinking?
Yeah. I think it's going to be something harmless like that, because not like even Mike on the first cliffhanger which was the pipe. You think it's a seriously scary mob thug. It's Mike, which is kind of becoming this lovable sidekick.
Yeah. Oh, them at the bar was one of my favorite scenes. They were just having a hoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it is not going to be as scary as we think. So, but
best
I'm excited.
Episode ever. Best episode so far.
I think so.
We're only 3 episodes in, and I'm excited for next episode. We'll have the next one out, I think, sooner than this one. This is Tuesday. We're recording this. Again, I landed on a plane last night, and I think next one we'll record either on Sunday night or Monday morning. So yeah,
I'd be excited to do it right after the show this time. And the video version will go up. But today is recording Tuesday. So I think Wednesday or Thursday the video will go up on your YouTube channel. Please check our YouTube channel, and it's just the Chair Company Files, I think, is the name of the YouTube channel. And then we have some shorts we're putting up there, so go check those out and come back next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.